Polypede Works here, coming to you once again with One Piece chapter 1181, entitled A God and a Devil. So here's the interesting part. A lot of rumors formed around this chapter, and it's a little weird how all of those rumors fell apart so unceremoniously. But it opens with Loki thinking about his pops and reflecting about how he had to kill him due to him being possessed by IMU and how he died so young because at his death, he was 144 and the natural max lifespan for a giant is 300, and we've seen older, but yeah. However, IMU is really showing just how, I guess, indignant and arrogant they are, because they're like, oh no, the one who suffered the most from Harold's death was I, Mu, because I don't have my best soldier anymore, idiot. And that's crazy to me. How can you say that to his son's face? What's wrong with you? What kind of emotion does Imu have? Also, it's really weird, and I may make another video about this, but it's weird that in their hybrid state, in which they look like a woman still, one eye is shown and one eye is hidden, but in their normal state, both eyes are shown. So I don't know what's up with that. That's strange. So Loki readies up Ragnar for an attack, is reflecting about his father even more, and he performs an attack with Ragnar's face popping into the scene. I didn't notice that the first time, called Ragna Zeuchi. Now, Ragna Zeuchi is a portmanteau of Ragnarok and Ikazeuchi. Ikazeuchi, and forgive my pronunciation, but that is a term in Japanese meaning lightning or thunder. So it's basically Ragnarok, lightning, thunder. That's what the attack is. Okay, so Imu blocks the attack with a weird shadow-like barrier, but they don't seem to block the lightning and take it head on, because there's a strike and then there's the lightning, which is really weird. So from the times that we've seen Ragnar work, right, it seems like the Retataskard fruit doesn't necessarily produce lightning, but it can summon lightning, which is a very weirdly different ability, because naturally it seems like it has cryokinesis because it's described as an ice squirrel by Jarl, so that makes sense. But all the times that we've seen Loki use Ragnar, even when he was in Sea Stone chains, it seems like lightning would always come from the sky wherever he's at and strikes the place where the hammer fell. So that's weird. So yeah, I guess Ragnar summons lightning. That's so odd, because so far we've only had lightning generation, like with Eniru, thanks to the Rumble fruit, and of course the Minx, which is funny because Karen is actually in the art request of this chapter. But yeah, it's always been generating lightning, not summoning lightning. And of course Zeus too, he generates lightning. Weird. Anyway, the lightning hits, Imu takes it, and Loki is shocked that they took it, and then they prepare a omen in which they gigantify, and this surprises Loki as well. And they say, Omen is simply Mu's military might. Its power dwells in all things. And they changed the smoky Haragamo cloud end of their staff into a big, I guess, hammer-like demon and match Ragnar as Loki swings Ragnar. Gotta glow. And this becomes more and more apparent as the chapter goes on. But I said in my Bad Fruit mythical model Baphomet video that Imu's staff would be able to do this. I said that it's probably like Nika's Hagoromo, and you could switch out the different heads of the weapon for the staff to become different weapons. That's what I said. And that's what happens all through this chapter. Because yes, Imu turns the weird staff into a mace of some sort or a hammer. Then the weird end of the staff becomes a sword hilt. But out of that sword hilt spawns a black blade. Now, everyone and their mother was saying that this is a black blade similar to Yoru. It's similar in shape, but it is a Dofru construct. Nemesis is simply a Dofru technique, and the entire staff is a Dofru construct, much like how Daifuku's genie carrying a halberd is a Dofru construct, thanks to the powers of the Puff Puff fruit. This is no different than that. So no, this is not a black blade. It looks like Yoru, but that doesn't necessarily align IMU with Mihawk here. I do still think they're related, but this is simply not the case. This is more akin to Iniru shaping his staff into a trident via the powers of the Rumble Rumble fruit. So this does make Iniru more like IMU, but I don't think Iniru knows anything about IMU. I simply do not. There's not enough evidence to suggest that Iniru actually knows the legend or folklore behind IMU. I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of things are similar between the two, and I think you could say perhaps Iniru is foreshadowing for IMU, but Iniru isn't really aware of IMU. That just doesn't seem possible to me. But to continue, they lay out the tenets of how they've been corrupting people all this time, and they call this full-on corruption Dominion, saying the three tenets of Dominion, the Trinity, are corruption, the covenant, and power. So verbatim, strength is an attribute people naturally crave, and yet that craving can be easily satisfied via corruption. It merely requires one to submit their will to a covenant. When their envy drives them, they'll achieve power. Those three things together form a trinity known as Dominion. And when they say this, they form the Hagarumo end of their staff into a demon-faced flail, which is oddly quite similar to the flail held by Rakuyo of the former Whitebeard Pirates. We don't know if Rakuyo's flail is a homie like, say, Nash, the Shield, or if it's a Dofru user like Ragnir. But yeah, that's weird now that I think about it. But they do look alike. But it seems as though, much like the rest of the Omen constructs, the demon head of the flail explodes on contact when it meets Loki, which is wild. But then Loki is offered this covenant via IMU, but of course Loki turns it down because of the trauma that he went through with his father. So of course he doesn't want it, and he says he doesn't want to be dominated by anyone, which that's our boy Loki. But as he says this, it seems as though IMU gets a little lost in thought, because they say the world itself rejoices in a state of dominion. Isn't that right? And we see a little flashback in which Joy Boy and IMU are talking. Here, IMU looks pretty much the same as they do in their normal form, just without the crown. So here's what's weird about this, okay? Joy Boy is wearing the straw hat. We know that, right? Still don't know how big Joy Boy is, because that weird straw hat in the cold chamber still hasn't had an answer to it, so that's weird. But like, looking at how IMU's perceiving themselves in this past vision, that still looks like a woman. Why are they wearing the shawl here? Why would a male character be wearing this? That's so odd to me. I don't get it. I genuinely don't. But as they are lost in thought, Loki revs up an attack, but then IMU screams out, "Isn't that right, Joy Boy?" Which is crazy, because this is the first time we see them emote. Flashback to Luffy, and he's sensing the dangerous amounts of hockey IMU is letting off, and he keeps eating and eating because he's preparing for the fight of his life. So I wonder, are we going to see a little something different out of Gear 5th here? I really do wonder. But yeah, Loki makes contact with IMU and launches them into a tree. IMU makes an indent inside the tree and is surprised. That's when Loki transforms into Nidhogg, which IMU then says Nidhogg. As if they're surprised, Loki charges up a lightning blast and fires. Direct hit at IMU. But IMU is unharmed because it seems like they prepared another barrier just in the nick of time. And they say to end us off, "Thou really hast returned." So I think we were correct by them saying this. It seems as though the Nidhogg, in some legend, based on what Jarl says, is the harbinger or the envoy of Nika's arrival. So I wonder, in being a messenger of Nika, kind of like Mercury or Hermes from Greek mythology, if that's the case here, if one means the coming of the other, is the Nidhogg a divine being in One Piece? Is it like a lesser deity or a local deity similar to the Okuchi no Mikami, which is Yamato's fruit? That's what I keep coming back to, because they keep framing this dragon in a divine light. It keeps bringing me back to that conclusion. And we'll probably make another video about this, but I don't think IMU is in an awakened state here. I think the Hagoromo cloud might just be part of their ability, seeing as how the staff itself is a Doa fruit construct. I'm just using Hagoromo cloud as a shorthand term to get across the idea based on things we've seen before, but I don't think it's as grandiose as a Hagoromo cloud, because based on its versatility, it seems like it's just a normal part of IMU's ability, which is interesting. But with that being said, we are on break next week because I believe it's Golden Week. And if you are enjoying the video so far, click the like button. And if you want to see more from me, click the subscribe button followed by that bell so you never miss a video. In addition, if you could, please hit the hype button because it really does help. With that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede Works.